Space was not silent. To trained ears, it hummed with the murmur of energy fields, distant pulses of dying stars, and the quiet breathing of galaxies older than memory. Commander Zethar Velnathi, veteran of 20 scout cycles, stood at the helm of the Silent Veil, his species' most advanced stealth vessel. His 3 obsidian eyes shifted across the holographic map as ghostly blue grids represented the outskirts of the known universe. The mission was meant to be ordinary, another routine sweep of the abandoned frontier bordering the Council's maps. Nothing lived here, according to centuries of data. Nothing dared. Yet the void ahead trembled. Commander, detecting something unusual. Officer Krevlon, the eager young recruit, leaned forward, his gills fluttering in restrained excitement. Zethar clicked his mandibles in irritation. Display. The panel shifted, revealing a cluster of erratic energy signatures roughly 2 million kilometers from their current position. They flickered like unsettled hearts, too organized to be natural, yet too chaotic to be familiar. Strange, Zethar muttered. These patterns aren't in any Council archive. His long, slender frame glided closer to the display. Each pulse seemed alive, like someone learning to command power far larger than themselves. Sector 7 Gamma, Commander, replied Calyx, the navigation officer. Beyond this point lies unmonitored space. Only one species is theorized here, the primitive bipedals called humans. Zethar's middle eye narrowed. He remembered the ancient probe reports, humans barely launching metal cans into orbit, their vessels burning primitive chemicals like torches in the dark. A species classified as Tier 2, expected to reach basic interstellar travel in several centuries. Primitive, harmless, forgettable. You think these signals belong to them? Zethar asked, his tone colored with skepticism. Calyx hesitated. The coordinates align with their domain. But the readings do not. That alone sent a ripple of caution through the bridge. Full stealth. Formation Delta 7, Zethar commanded. 6 Velnathi scout ships drifted forward like shadows, bending light and muting their existence. Their stealth technology, once the pride of the Council, was considered flawless. Untouchable. Yet as they drew nearer, the shapes hidden within the energy cluster began to reveal themselves. Commander, Krevlon's voice cracked. I'm detecting 47 vessels. The number slammed through the bridge like a physical blow. No developing species built fleets of that magnitude. Not out here. Not in secrecy. Visual, Zethar ordered. The hologram expanded, and silence smothered the room. The ships were colossal, jagged, brutal machines forged for battle rather than diplomacy. No elegance, no softness, only iron intention. Their formation was impossibly tight, multi-layered, defensive and offensive simultaneously. Analysis, Zethar whispered. Uniform design. High-output fusion cores, Silrex reported, voice trembling. Weaponry beyond theoretical limits. And, strange secondary systems we cannot classify. A silence fell over the bridge, one heavy enough to warp gravity. Commander, they bear markings, Silrex added slowly. Names appeared across the hulls in the old probe's translated alphabet, Iron Resolve. Night Ward Fury. Vigilant Dawn. Eternal Watch. Human names. Oxygen breathers. Warm-blooded. Soft-skinned. Impossible. Commander, these are human ships. The universe seemed to fold inward as Zethar realized one truth. The Council had gravely underestimated the species they believed would never matter. If this was only their patrol force, what monstrous power waited deeper in the dark? Zethar forced his pulse to steady as he stared at the impossible truth unfolding before him. Humans, those fragile creatures who once scraped metal into their skies, now commanded a fleet powerful enough to fracture galactic balance. Nothing in the last 2 centuries suggested they should even have left their star system. Yet here they were, standing in the void like ancient titans awakened too early.
Begin long-range deep scan, Zephyr ordered, though dread pooled within him. Yes, Commander. Silrex's fingers glided across the console, each motion sharpening the incoming data streams. One by one, the readings materialized. Every detail buried a new nail into the coffin of Velnathi certainty. Commander, hull composition is triple-layered alloys with ceramic composites. Energy output far exceeds Council projections, nearly 140% over theoretical limits. Krevlon swallowed. These ships aren't exploratory. They're warforged. Zephyr leaned closer, mandibles tightening. Show structural layout. The hologram rotated, exposing patterns the Council had never used, angular plates forming resilient shells, overlapping armor segments built for simultaneous absorption and retaliation, not diplomatic engagement. But it was the formation itself that unsettled him most. These are defense and offense folded into one, Zephyr whispered. A formation that counters both stealth and swarm tactics. Calyx checked several instruments again, disbelieving. Commander, this is a formation humans should not even understand. No species new to space possessed this level of strategic layering. It took eras. Collective eras. Unless, they'd learned by watching. Commander, Silrex's voice faltered as he stared at his biosignature scans. The crews aboard the ships, oxygen breathers. Physiological markers perfectly match early human profiles. Zephyr inhaled sharply. Confirm. A moment. A beep. Confirmed, Commander. These vessels belong entirely to humans. A silence fell that no training could prepare them for. The bridge crew stared at the unfolding fleet, as though they had awakened a sleeping beast. How is this possible? Krevlon whispered. Zephyr's eyes dimmed as he calculated. They advanced centuries in decades. That should be impossible, unless they had external influence. Silrex shook his head. No other species has entered their sector. And Commander, humans are broadcasting. Zephyr froze. Broadcasting what? Silrex's screen pulsed. Encrypted communications, but I am intercepting fragments. Play. A clipped, sharp voice resonated across the bridge, clearly human, clearly commanding. Blue Wing, maintain spacing. Red Squadron, prepare for simulation barrage. Rookie pilots, keep your formations clean. If this were live combat, half of you would already be dead. Training drills. Training. With ships that could tear through Council fleets. Zephyr's throat tightened. This is a training fleet. Yes, Commander, Silrex whispered. New recruits. They're practicing. A terrifying clarity dawned upon Zephyr. If this colossal force was merely their novice division, what horrors stood behind them in the heart of human space? He stepped back, his tall frame visibly shaken. Transmit every detail to High Council Command. Priority grade, Solar Red. Krevlon hesitated. Commander, should we withdraw? No. Zephyr's voice was barely a whisper. Not yet. We need to know what has awakened in the dark. And as the Velnathi crept closer, the humans, impossibly, began turning their weapons directly toward the invisible scouts. The Velnathi ships drifted in total silence, blanketed by a stealth field so perfect that even light forgot they existed. For 2 centuries, their technology had been the gold standard, unmatched, unbreakable, undetectable. But the universe always had a sense of humor. Commander, Silrex whispered, eyes wide. The human fleet is shifting. Zephyr turned toward the hologram, and for the first time in his long career, felt his heart stutter. 47 human vessels, once arranged in scattered training patterns, suddenly snapped into flawless formation, as if commanded by the universe itself. Each ship pivoted with impossible precision. Each cannon realigned with machine-like instinct. Each missile bay opened like eyes waking to the presence of prey. And they were all pointing directly, at the Velnathi. At the empty stretch of space where the scouts hid. At them. Impossible, Zethar breathed, mandibles trembling. We are invisible. We emit nothing. Calyx frantically recalibrated the stealth matrix. Commander, readings are stable. Our field is untouched. Humans cannot detect us, by any known method. Yet there the humans were, aiming at nothing, yet aiming at them. Commander, Silrex whispered. Incoming transmission. Zethar spun. What? From them? Not to us, sir. To each other. Internal communications. Play it. A deep human voice filled the bridge, rough and impatient. Captain, unknown contacts holding position. Still cloaked. Quantum wake signatures unchanged. A second voice replied, female, steady, utterly calm. Good. Maintain weapons lock. They're watching us. Let them. Zethar felt the temperature of the bridge drop. Quantum wake signatures. Not light. Not heat. Not emissions. Quantum. The humans were reading the fabric of reality itself, the faint wrinkles created by mass in motion. The Velnathi stealth field hid every visible trace, but not the disturbances created by ships simply existing. Someone aboard that fleet had figured out how to track the untrackable. I do not understand, Calyx whispered. Quantum wake detection is, theoretical. Unreliable. It shouldn't be possible. Commander, Silrex interrupted. There is another transmission. This one is, directed outward. Toward them. Zethar felt the air grow heavier as Silrex routed the signal. A single human voice, female, accented, and speaking in brittle, broken galactic common. We know you are there. Stand down. The bridge fell into a stunned silence that words could not touch. They should not have been able to see them. They should not have known their language. They should not have been able to target their exact location. Yet here they were, doing all three casually, like swatting dust. Krevlon exhaled shakily. Commander, what do we do? Zethar's mind raced. Retreat was logical. Silence was safe. But pride whispered another path. We hold position, he decided, his voice low and dangerous. Velnathi do not flee from those they observe. Silrex nodded nervously. Weapons on standby? No. Zethar's eyes narrowed. We wait. And we watch. But the humans weren't done. Within moments, they began speaking about the Velnathi, discussing them, dissecting them, as if they already knew exactly who they were. The bridge lights dimmed as more intercepted transmissions poured in, each one carving deeper cracks into Velnathi pride. Route everything through translator protocols, Zethar murmured, forcing calm he did not feel. I want full context. Silrex obeyed, the display flickering as human voices filled the room. Contacts holding position. 6 vessels. Cloaked, but quantum disturbance is unmistakable. Another voice, firm and authoritative. Maintain lock. Do not provoke unless provoked. This might be a first contact scenario. A third voice joined, calm, confident, almost amused. Training Fleet Alpha is ordered to stay sharp. Rookie squads maintain stance. And remember, these may be friendlies who don't realize we can see through their cloaks. Rookie squads. Training Fleet Alpha. Zethar felt something ancient in him tremble. These humans were not rattled, not confused, not even tense. To them, detecting invisible council scouts was a routine inconvenience. Calyx whispered, Commander, they talk as if this is normal. As if cloaked ships appear in their space every day. It is not possible, Silrex whispered back. No species cracks stealth this easily. No species casually analyzes scouts from the Council's elite intelligence corps. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The humans saw them as clearly as stars in a moonless sky. Krevlon swallowed. Commander, if this is how they treat unknown ships, imagine how they treat enemies. Zephyr did not respond. He couldn't. His mind was too busy stitching together the implications. Humans had mastered quantum readings. Humans had mastered galactic common, badly, but effectively. Humans had built a fleet that dwarfed what any young species had ever achieved. And now, humans were openly discussing Velnathi ships, casually dismantling their advantages one by one. Commander, Silrex said suddenly. Officer Kreenel has completed analysis of the strange engine emissions. Show me. On the holoscreen appeared elegant waveforms, too smooth, too deliberate. These emissions aren't random, Kreenel began, stepping forward with a mix of fear and admiration in his voice. They're patterns, layered patterns. The humans are generating controlled quantum interference. Zethyr's 3 eyes widened. Explain. Kreenel hesitated. Well, it means they aren't merely using reactors for power. They are manipulating quantum states intentionally. For what purpose? Zephyr demanded. Kreenel swallowed. Possibly for communication. Possibly for navigation. He paused. Or, possibly as weapons. The word hung like a blade in the air. Silrex looked up sharply. Commander. I can confirm that these patterns are engineered. No natural engine produces such harmonics. Zethyr's throat tightened. So humans play with quantum physics like children play with stones. That is, one interpretation, Kreenel said weakly. It was madness. It was brilliance. It was danger wrapped in curiosity. And for the first time, the Velnathi scouts were completely outmatched, intellectually, technologically, strategically. Zephyr exhaled slowly. Maintain observation. No movement. Calyx nodded, though terror flickered in his eyes. Understood, but Commander. The human fleet is adjusting again. Zethyr's gaze snapped toward the viewscreen. The humans were forming up, preparing. For what? The answer came seconds later, when the human captain spoke 4 chilling words that would rewrite the fate of the galaxy. Activate suppression field. Phase 1. The word struck Zephyr like a physical blow. Activate suppression field. Phase 1. The humans spoke them with terrifying ease, like they were initiating a routine calibration, not a weapon that could cripple fleets. Zethyr's mandibles twitched. Suppression field. What suppression? Kreenel's monitors began to spike before he could answer. Commander, quantum flux increasing. Something massive is building in their engine matrices. Shields. Zephyr barked. Stable. Calyx replied. But they won't matter if this is truly quantum-based. The bridge trembled as sensors caught something they couldn't translate into normal readings. A wave. A ripple through existence. Not energy. Not matter. Something deeper. Silrex's voice cracked. Commander, whatever this is, it's not aimed. It's expanding. Expanding how? Zephyr demanded. Kreenel stared at the data, his skin paling. In all directions, sir. Spherical propagation. It's not a beam, it's a blanket. Zethyr's eyes widened. A blanket that would swallow them whole. Within seconds, it hit. It did not explode. It did not scorch. It did not shake. It simply was. A soft, shimmering wave passed through the silent veil like a harmless mist. And then. Warning! Calyx screamed. Systems destabilizing. Quantum processors collapsing. Lights flickered. Panels dimmed. The hum of the ship's power core stuttered like a wounded heartbeat. Kreenel, report. Zephyr roared. Kreno's hands flew across the failing console. Our core logic, every circuit that relies on quantum stabilization, it's misfiring. Misfiring? Why? Zephyr demanded. It's like they forced everything into contradictory states. Kreno cried. Our processors are trying to exist in two conditions at once. It's impossible, it's. His station died mid-sentence. Half the bridge went dark. The silent veil began drifting, powerless. Commander. Silrex shouted. All 6 ships in fleet reporting total system collapse. Weapons offline. Engines offline. FTL drive dead. Zephyr's hearts hammered in terror as reality tightened like a noose. One pulse. Just one. And the greatest stealth fleet in their sector was reduced to debris with life support. Krevlon whispered, barely audible, how could anyone do this? Zephyr stared at the human's formation, still glowing with eerie blue energy, watching silently. It wasn't even an attack, he said hollowly. It was a demonstration. Silrex suddenly regained partial audio, and a human voice filled the bridge, calm, controlled, flawless in galactic common now. Velnathi vessels, this is Admiral James Okoye of the United Earth Defense Fleet. Your ships have been disabled by a non-lethal quantum suppression field. Life support will be stabilized shortly. Do not resist. Assistance is en route. The bridge froze. They weren't attacking. They were helping. Kreno whispered what everyone felt but dared not say. They crushed us, with mercy. But mercy came with footsteps. Because moments later, human boarding craft began attaching themselves to the silent Velnathi hulls, and someone was cutting through the metal. The silent veil groaned as metal warped under the pressure of the incoming clamps. Zephyr felt each vibration like a pulse in his bones. Commander, Silrex's voice shook. Their boarding craft has attached. How many? Zephyr demanded. Unknown. But they're cutting through our hull now. Section C-12. Airlock grid is dead. We can't close anything. Of course they couldn't. Humans hadn't merely disabled their ship, they'd rearranged its logic until even basic functions sat in contradiction. Kreno, can we reroute power? Zephyr asked sharply. No, Commander. Every pathway collapses as soon as it forms. Their suppression field destroyed our architecture from the inside out. The grinding intensified. A shrill metallic scream tore down the corridor, vibrating the bridge floor. Calyx swallowed hard. Commander, they're almost through. Zephyr inhaled slowly. All crew, back away from the breach. No resistance. Repeat, no resistance. Velnathi were warriors once, long ago. But today, resistance would be suicide. A final blast of sparks showered the deck. A circular plate of hull fell inward with a heavy clang, and a blast of frigid air rushed past them before. Thwomp, a glowing human force shield sealed the breach from their side. And then they stepped in. 6 humans entered like a tide of metal and purpose. They were wrapped in exosuits, powered armor so dense it made the Velnathi look skeletal in comparison. Their visors reflected the dim red emergency lights, giving them the appearance of faceless executioners. Weaponry hung across their chests, primitive projectile rifles by design, yet tuned with unmistakable precision and lethality. They held the weapons low, respectful, but ready. The leading soldier stepped forward, tapping her helmet. The visor retracted with a soft hiss. A human face appeared, brown skin, sharp eyes that gleamed with intelligence rather than hostility. I am Lieutenant Mara Chen, United Earth Defense Force, she said, her voice strong but not cruel. We are here to render aid. Are any of your crew injured? Zephyr hadn't expected kindness. He had prepared for confrontation, threats, interrogation. But worry? Compassion? We have no injuries, he answered cautiously. But our life support is failing. Chen nodded with brisk efficiency. Then let's fix that. Her soldiers moved instantly, pulling out devices far too large to fit in their packs. Velnathi watched with fascination as portable human life support cores unfolded like living machines, interfaces adjusting to alien connectors seamlessly. Connect their environmental manifold, Chen instructed. And someone stabilize their heating grid, these conditions are near hypothermic for them. Within minutes, warmth seeped into the ship. Fresh oxygen flowed. Lights brightened. Humans brought their dying systems back to life in mere breaths. Zephyr watched, stunned. You prepared for us, beforehand. Chen offered a small, tired smile. We prepared for anyone. Her visor hid nothing. Not arrogance. Not cruelty. Only certainty. Commander, she said gently, our captain requests your presence aboard the indomitable Horizon. She wishes to speak with you personally. Zephyr stiffened. Am I a prisoner? No, Chen replied. A guest. Then, after a beat, a very important one. But as Zephyr followed the humans through the breach, he didn't yet know, he was about to learn a secret humanity had kept hidden for 15 years, and the galaxy would tremble when it was revealed. The humans guided Zephyr and his two chosen officers through the sealed boarding tube. The air was warmer here, denser, humid compared to the sterile chill of Velnathi vessels. The lights were harsh, white, clinical. Every sound, each footstep, each mechanical hiss, echoed in sharp clarity. Lieutenant Marachan walked ahead, her armor humming softly with stored kinetic reserves. Zephyr studied her posture, noting something deeply unsettling. She was unafraid. No other species behaved this way when dealing with Council scouts. No tremble. No hesitation. Humans, it seemed, carried confidence like a second skin. The indomitable Horizon awaits you, Chen said, tapping the airlock controls. The door slid open, and the alien trio stepped into a world that felt simultaneously unfamiliar and strangely alive. The corridor was wider, built for heavy traffic. The walls carried exposed conduits labeled with bright symbols and numbers. Humans preferred practicality over elegance, it radiated from every bolt and panel. Crew members paused as the Velnathi passed, their eyes wide with fascination rather than fear. Some whispered. Some smiled. Some recorded data or images discreetly. But none recoiled. Chen noticed Zephyr's surprise. Humans like to look at what they're curious about. We don't hide curiosity well. A dangerous trait, Zephyr murmured. Sometimes, she admitted. But also useful. They reached a large set of reinforced doors. They slid open with a deep hydraulic groan. The human bridge. It was nothing like a council command center. Levels stacked downward like a stadium. Officers at each tier monitored displays overloaded with information. A panoramic viewport at the front revealed the floating Velnathi ships, small, fragile things compared to the towering human vessels carefully stabilizing them. And at the center stood a woman in formal command attire. Short rust-colored hair. Sharp green eyes. Calm authority that filled the room like gravity. Chen approached her and offered a crisp salute. Captain Arden Cole, presenting Commander Zephyr of the Velnathi. Captain Cole stepped forward, nodding respectfully. Commander Zephyr, she said in flawless galactic common, welcome aboard the indomitable Horizon. I'm glad we can speak under better circumstances. Zephyr bowed his head slightly. Your hospitality is unexpected. She offered a small smile. Unexpected is our specialty. Her expression shifted, more serious, more weighted. Commander, there is something you must understand before anything else. Humanity has known about your council, for 15 years. The words hit harder than the suppression pulse. What? Zephyr's voice cracked. Impossible. The probe passed your system nearly 200 cycles ago. You were primitives, nothing more. Primitives with ears, Cole replied. When your probe transmitted its findings back toward Council space, we intercepted the signal. Silrex staggered. Your encryption. It should have taken centuries. It took 3 years, Cole corrected gently. Our brightest minds broke it. Zether's eyes widened. 3 years. Captain Cole nodded. And once we knew we weren't alone in the galaxy, we prepared. Quietly. Relentlessly. Because history taught us something your council never understood. Those who wait become prey. Zether felt the floor tilt beneath him. You built all of this, for us. No, she said softly. For whoever came next. Your council was simply the first to show its shadow. And then Captain Cole said something that chilled Zether deeper than any weapon. Commander, humanity didn't just watch. We listened. And we learned things about your council you may not know. Captain Cole motioned for Zether to follow her to a transparent tactical interface shaped like a vertical pool of liquid glass. The moment her hand neared it, the surface brightened, swirling into deep blue holographic forms, fractals, maps, signal flows, and encrypted channels Zether had never seen. Commander, she began calmly, your council isn't as unified as you believe. Zether stiffened. Explain. Cole tapped the interface. Instantly, it reshaped into a floating lattice of vibrating nodes, each marked with symbols, each connected by delicate golden threads. These, she said, pointing, are intercepted high-priority council transmissions. We quieted them by masking our listening posts inside background cosmic radiation. Your leaders never noticed. Zether stared in disbelief. Humanity infiltrated, the council's top communication bands. Cole nodded. For 12 years. It felt like being struck with gravity itself. Why? Zether forced out. Cole's eyes met his, deep and unwavering. Because we learned early that your council was preparing something called the Outer Species Evaluation Act. Silrex inhaled sharply. That act, it was a proposal. Not ratified. A theoretical study for. Cole cut in. For deciding which emerging species should be suppressed before they challenge council authority. Zether froze, mandibles tightening. He had heard whispers of that proposal but assumed it was academic speculation, nothing more. Commander, Captain Cole said softly, your people were debating whether to neutralize humanity before we became a threat. Silrex's voice shook. We do not attack developing civilizations. That law was. When the law isn't convenient, Cole said quietly, laws bend. The word stung because they held truth Zether had never wanted to consider. She continued, her voice low but steady. 15 years ago, we found out your council made a decision. Monitor humanity. And if their growth becomes exponential, enforce containment options. Zether's breath faltered. Containment. That term can mean many things. Cole raised an eyebrow. Usually it means crushing a species before it reaches parity. A sick fear settled in Zether's chest. Not of the humans. But of what his own council might have been planning. And when your probe detected our early fusion engines, Cole added, your council accelerated surveillance. You sent stealth scouts. Zether felt exposed, stripped of every illusion he carried. We never planned harm, he whispered. Cole shook her head. I believe you, Commander. You weren't the problem. Her voice grew heavier. But the Council does not see us as equals. They see us as an anomaly. A threat to their long-standing influence. She let the word sit, crushing and unyielding. And we learned something else, Cole said quietly. Something you need to understand now. Zether swallowed. What is that? Captain Cole tapped the interface again, and a new image appeared, one that made Silrex choke on air. A council fleet. Battle ready. Already mobilizing. Outside Velnathi space. Zether's hearts plummeted. What are they doing? He asked, voice trembling. Cole took a slow breath. They're not coming for us, Commander. Her eyes locked on his. They're coming for you. Because someone in the council has labeled the Velnathi scouts, Zether and his crew, as compromised, and marked for elimination. The projected image hovered between them, a council fleet mobilized with unmistakable intent. Not exploratory. Not diplomatic. Executionary. Zether felt the temperature of the human bridge drop, though nothing physically changed. It was the coldness of realization, of betrayal sharpening inside his chest. His voice came out hollow. This cannot be right. The council would never eliminate its own scouts. Cole's expression softened in pity, not doubt. Commander, those ships were mobilized exactly 14 hours after your fleet lost contact during our suppression event. Someone reacted fast, too fast. Silrex stepped forward, shaking his head violently. No, we are loyal Velnathi officers. We followed protocol. There is no justification for. There doesn't need to be, Cole cut in quietly. Your council fears the unknown. You encountered something beyond their expectations, us. That alone is enough. Kreno's voice trembled. Commander, if they believe we've defected. Or been captured, Cole added, they might erase you to hide the failure. The words hit Zether like an impact shock. Silencing a compromised unit wasn't an act of anger. It was procedure. Zether forced his mind to run calculations. Their position, that is the far apex vector. They cannot reach us without crossing neutral sectors. Cole swiped her hand across the interface, pulling up a path traced in red. They found a shortcut. Something called the trispiral drift. You know it? Zether staggered. That route is unstable. No ship risks it, not even the Council's elite. You're wrong, Cole said. 6 destroyer-class vessels are already inside the drift. If they survive the passage, they'll reach this region in under 40 hours. Silrex sank against a console, mandibles quivering. Why? Why go this far? Why end us? Captain Cole studied the collapsing Velnathi officer with a quiet sympathy unusual for a human commander dealing with aliens who had once planned to monitor, or eliminate, her species. Because someone in your council wants humanity ignorant, she said softly. They want us isolated, unaware of galactic politics, unaware of the council's hierarchy. Her eyes hardened. They don't want the galaxy to see that we outpaced them in mere decades. They want to bury the evidence, your encounter, your scan data, perhaps even you. Zether's vision darkened at the edges. He was not simply stranded. He was expendable. And the council, his council, had already pulled the trigger. For the first time in his career, Zether felt untethered from the ground he stood on. What are you saying? He whispered. Captain Cole stepped closer, lowering her voice so the surrounding officers could not overhear. I'm saying your people will not help you, Commander. They're coming to clean the table. She held his gaze. But we will not let them erase you. Zether blinked, incredulous. Why would humans protect us? Cole exhaled. Because you didn't fire on us. Because you let us help you. Because you listened. Then she leaned in. And because we know something your council doesn't. That the galaxy is about to face a threat much larger than any of us. Zether stiffened. What threat? Cole turned toward the viewing window. Her voice fell to a chilling whisper. One that found us first. And as she activated a classified display, Zether saw a silhouette in the void, colossal, ancient, and unlike anything recorded in council history. The lights on the bridge dimmed as Captain Cole entered an authorization sequence. Layer after layer of locking protocols unraveled, code so heavily encrypted that even Zethir's trained eyes struggled to follow their flow. Finally, a deep tone resonated through the room. Access granted, classified level Omega. The tactical display flared to life. At first, Zethir thought it was a star. A dying, flickering star engulfed in unstable plasma. But stars did not move. Magnify, Cole ordered. The view expanded, revealing not a celestial object, but something far more manufactured. Something impossibly vast. Its structure was jagged, asymmetrical, shaped by no known architectural logic. Dark metallic plates overlapped like layers of an ancient armor. Massive void-like cavities pulsed across its surface, absorbing light, not reflecting it. A humanoid silhouette should never have been so large. Yet the shape resembled a giant figure suspended in space, its head lowered, arms extended, as if reaching for something beyond mortal sight. The entire bridge fell silent. "What is that?" Silrex whispered, barely breathing. Cole's expression turned grave. "We call it the Hollow Titan. But that's just a name. We don't know what it really is." Kreno leaned forward, voice trembling. "Its energy readings, they're impossible. It exists in 2 spectra at once. Commander, this thing is out of phase." Zethir felt his heart's twist. A phase-shifted construct? But that technology was abandoned centuries ago. No species succeeded after the catastrophic. Cole interrupted softly. "Yes. We saw your council's archives. Phase experiments never worked. They melted dimensions, tore ships apart, killed thousands." Her eyes flicked back to the Titan. "But this thing is not failing at all. It's stable." The implications were catastrophic. Zethir stepped closer, unable to tear his gaze away. "Where did you find it?" Cole tapped the display, revealing a star map. A sector far from human space lit up, deep beyond even the Velnathi charts. "It appeared 1 year ago," she said. "First as a distortion. Then as a form. Our deep space telescopes caught its shift, then lost half their sensors." "Why is it shaped like that?" Silrex whispered. "A being? A monument?" "We don't know," Cole replied. "But every time it shifts closer to our dimension, our systems fail, just like yours did when our suppression field hit you. Except this thing doesn't disable technology." She swallowed. "It erases it." Zethir felt a surge of dread unlike anything the council prepared him for. "Intent?" he asked. Cole's jaw tightened. "Unknown. But every energy pulse it emits echoes like a signal." Silrex frowned. "A signal to what?" Cole hesitated, and her response chilled the bridge. "To something responding from beyond the galactic rim." A long, silent breath passed through the room. "Commander," Cole said quietly, "we didn't prepare our fleet for the council." Her eyes locked onto his. "We prepared for whatever built this." Zethir felt the weight of a future collapsing. "What does this have to do with us?" he whispered. Cole's voice dropped to a solemn whisper. "The Titan's energy patterns changed the moment your scouts activated their stealth drives." And then she showed the final reading, one proving that the Titan wasn't watching humanity, it was watching the Velnathi. The hologram shifted again, this time displaying a waveform unlike anything Zethir had ever seen. It pulsed in enormous crescents of black and violet energy, each rhythm spreading like ripples across an ocean of stars. Cole zoomed in. At the top of the waveform was a sequence of jagged peaks. Sharp. Uneven. Precisely spaced. Silrex inhaled sharply. "Those signatures, they match our stealth wake." Cole nodded grimly. "Exactly." A stunned hush spread across the bridge. Zethir stared at the display, unable to accept what it meant. "Captain, you are telling me that this Titan, this shape, reacted to us specifically?" No, Cole corrected softly. It didn't react to your presence. She pointed to the next set of readings. Smooth. Rising. Converging. It reacted to your technology. Kreno's voice broke. Phase-linked stealth patterns, the ones abandoned after they caused dimensional fractures. Yes, Cole said. The Titan mimicked your stealth resonance within seconds. As if trying to speak back. Zethir's throat tightened. Impossible. No construct can decode those patterns. Cole stepped closer to the hologram, her expression darkening. Commander, the Titan isn't decoding anything. It's anticipating it. As though your technology is familiar. Silrex retreated a step. No. The Council locked all research on phase technology after the disasters. It should be forgotten. Should be, Cole echoed. But the universe disagrees. The Titan rotated slowly on the display, shimmering in and out of existence. Its surface flickered with the same stealth phase distortion the Velnathi ships used. Zethir realized the horrifying implication. It's learning from us. Not learning, Cole said quietly. Reflecting. Mirroring. It's like it's been waiting for that signature to reappear. The bridge descended into breaths too shallow to calm anyone. Kreno whispered, Commander, why would something outside our galaxy track ancient Velnathi technology? Zethir's heart hammered painfully. A memory surfaced, one he wished had stayed buried. A classified message from decades ago. A forbidden experiment overseen by an elite Velnathi group known as the First Star Directive. He had dismissed it as rumor. As conspiracy. But now. Commander, Cole said gently, noticing the shift in his expression. There is something you know. Zethir shook his head slowly. It was always speculation, stories told to frighten young tacticians. What stories? Silrex pressed. Zethir met their eyes, haunted. The First Star Directive was rumored to attempt creating a phase being, a sentient entity that could exist across multiple dimensions. A perfect observer. A guardian. Or a weapon. Cole's jaw tightened. A creation? Zethir nodded. And the rumors said it was abandoned because the prototype vanished during testing. The bridge went silent. Silrex whispered, horrified, Commander, are you implying this Titan could be? Zethir's voice cracked. Something we built, and lost. Cole didn't blink. Her voice fell to a deadly calm whisper. Then Commander, it may be coming home. But before Zethir could respond, alarms exploded across the human bridge, because the Titan had just moved. Alarms erupted across the human bridge like a sudden storm, sharp, urgent, unforgiving. Red lights flashed. Panels vibrated. Voices rose in tense unison as officers scrambled across stations. Captain Cole. The Titan, its position just shifted. Magnitude, she demanded. 0.08 light seconds, a sensor officer cried. Vector change confirmed. It's rotating. Zethir's breath caught. The Titan, previously dormant, suspended like a frozen monolith, now turned with terrifying grace. Movement without propulsion. Drift without force. As if it simply chose to reorient reality around itself. Cole leaned over the tactical display. Track its trajectory. It's aligning, her officer whispered. With what? Cole snapped. Zethir already knew. His heart sank as the holographic map updated. The Titan is facing the sector where your scouts appeared, he muttered. Silrex pointed with shaking claws. Commander, that's our entry vector. The bridge fell into a deeper, colder silence. One filled with a truth no one wanted to voice. The Titan hadn't moved randomly. It moved with purpose. A low-frequency hum rippled through the speakers, a vibration more felt than heard. The display warped, colors bending into unnatural shapes. Waves of static danced across its form. Cole steadied herself. Is it projecting something? Kreno leaned forward. No, it's scanning us. Or scanning through us. To what? Silrex whispered. Zephyr stared at the Titan's growing distortion. To history, he murmured. To memory. To whatever signature we share. A new spike lit the display, sharp and violent. Captain, a technician shouted. Dimensional stress rising. Its harmonics are disrupting our long-range sensors. Cole cursed. Dampen the distortion. Negative, another officer yelled. It's piercing every frequency simultaneously. It's like it's searching. For what? Cole asked. But Zephyr already saw the pattern. The harmonics weren't random, they pulsed in familiar cycles. Velnathi cycles. Old cycles. No, he whispered. No, this cannot be. Cole turned sharply. Commander, speak. Zephyr's mandibles clicked in dread. The first star directive's prototype, if it survived its phase failure, if it drifted into the dimensional rift, then over centuries it might have evolved, adapted, grown. Silrex shook violently. Grown? Into that monstrosity? Phase beings don't age like biological entities, Zephyr said. They absorb. They reshape. And if it was created using Velnathi core algorithms, it would still recognize us. Kreno stared at the Titan in horror. Commander, are we responsible for this thing? Zephyr closed his eyes. Not us. But our ancestors, perhaps. The humming deepened, no longer distant, but pressing against the mind. The Titan's outline flared, splitting briefly into two forms, then merging again, as if it existed in disagreement with itself. Cole stepped back. Everyone brace, something's happening. The Titan's chest, if it could be called that, began glowing. A fissure. A portal. A widening breach. Silrex screamed, it's opening something. It's opening. And then the sensors died. Not flickered. Not glitched. Died. Every human and Velnathi display went black. The Titan had erased their perception. And in that unnatural darkness, a single signal appeared, broadcast across all channels, speaking in a voice older than stars, and unmistakably Velnathi. The bridge sat in complete darkness, lit only by emergency strips glowing like ghostly veins along the floor. All systems, human and Velnathi, lay dead, severed by an unseen hand. Then the voice came. Not through speakers. Not through comms. Through air itself. A vibration. A pressure. A resonance that felt older than physics. Velnathi. Return. Silrex stumbled backward, clutching his skull. No. No, that dialect. Commander, that's pre-classical Velnathi. The language before unification. Zephyr's blood ran cold. Pre-classical Velnathi hadn't been spoken in thousands of years. Yet here it was, perfect. Commanding. Alive. Cole spun toward the dim outline of the Velnathi officers. Commander, what is it saying? Zephyr translated with trembling mandibles. It's summoning us. The voice echoed again, deeper, sharper, like metal scraping the bones of time. Velnathi. You abandoned us. Kreno collapsed to his knees. This cannot be real. Pre-classical cadence patterns, how is it reproducing them so exactly? Zephyr's throat clenched. Because it remembers. Cole stepped closer, her expression fierce despite the dread gnawing at her. Commander, if this thing is connected to your people, how? Zephyr forced his mind to speak what his spirit feared. The first star directive didn't try to build a simple multidimensional machine. They tried to create a sentient stabilizer, a being capable of existing across planes to protect our early colonies from cosmic storms. Silrex looked up, horrified. But it failed. It tore open a rift. Thousands died. Zephyr nodded. That was the official story. And the unofficial? Cole pressed. Zethir's voice cracked. The prototype wasn't destroyed. It disappeared. It escaped into the rift before shutdown. Cole exhaled sharply. Meaning it had time, centuries, to evolve. Centuries to grow angry, Silrex added, shaking. The voice came again, closer now, as if the Titan itself was breathing on the hull. You left me in the dark. You turned away. Zethir's mandibles trembled. It thinks we abandoned it. It thinks we rejected it. Cole narrowed her eyes. Can it see us right now? Yes, Zephyr whispered. It sees everything. It sees through dimensions. It doesn't need sensors. Another pulse vibrated the ship, soft yet overwhelming, like the heartbeat of a god. Every human officer winced. Every Velnathi nearly collapsed. Then the voice shifted, its tone no longer pure anger, but something more disturbing. Recognition. Velnathi. You have returned. With the soft ones. Cole exchanged a confused glance with her officers. Soft ones? Zethir's breathing hitched. Us. Humans. Biological density is lower. It's describing your species. Silrex whispered, Commander, it knows them. The Titan's voice deepened into an echoing roar. The soft ones. Deceived you. They block my path. Cole stiffened. It's blaming us. Captain, Zephyr whispered hoarsely. It believes humanity is keeping us from going to it. Cole's eyes hardened like steel. Then it wants you for something. Zephyr nodded slowly. Silrex inhaled sharply. Commander, look. Through the slowly restoring viewport, they saw it. The Titan was opening. Splitting. Unfolding plates like a colossal blooming flower. Creating a corridor through space. Not toward humanity. Toward them. And then the Titan spoke one final command, one that shattered Zethir's soul. Velnathi. Come home. The Titan's plates unfolded like titanic wings stretching across reality itself. What lay between them was not metal, not machinery, not anything a sane mind was meant to witness. It was a corridor of distortion, a tunnel of warped stars, fractured light, and shadows that writhed like living equations. Reality bent inward, outward, sideways, all at once. Silrex's voice cracked. That isn't space. Commander, that's a dimensional breach. Zephyr stared in paralyzed horror. A corridor leading back to the place where the Titan was born, or where it had mutated, or where something else waited. Cole stepped forward, jaw set like iron. What does it want with you? Zephyr swallowed. His voice trembled. It thinks we abandoned it. It believes we left it trapped in the rift. And now? Cole pressed. Zephyr felt the Titan's pressure squeezing his mind like an ancient hand closing around his soul. Now it wants us to return to it. Kreno wiped his shaking hands across his face. Commander, if we enter that breach. We will not return, Zephyr whispered. We will be torn apart. Or worse, reshaped. A deep vibration rolled through the hull, rattling the bridge. The Titan's voice returned, more distorted, layered with static, like thousands of versions of itself speaking at once. Velnathi. Cross the threshold. Cole held her ground. We're not letting it take you. The Titan responded instantly. A shockwave fired across the void, silent, colorless, yet so forceful it slammed into the human fleet like a hurricane made of gravity. The indomitable horizon buckled. Panels exploded. Humans were thrown across stations. Shields collapsing, someone yelled. Stabilizers offline. Dimensional bleed-through in sectors 6 through 10. Cole gripped the railing, refusing to fall. It's attacking us because you won't go. Zephyr steadied himself, mandibles clenched. No, it's attacking because it thinks you're keeping us captive. The Titan pulsed again, its silhouette flickering between planes. A crack-like distortion tore across space, ripping a streak of blackness like a wound. Cole shouted, "Commander, if this continues, it'll rip us in half." Zephyr felt despair tightening around him. The Titan wanted Velnathi survivors, all of them. Humans were an obstacle, a barrier preventing it from reclaiming what it believed was its origin. Silrex choked out, "Commander. I'm receiving a new resonance. It's singing." The Titan hummed with a low, resonant frequency. A song, mournful and furious, vibrating across space. Zephyr translated instinctively. It is saying, "Return to me, fragments of my creation. Return before I take you by force." Cole's eyes widened. "It's giving you an ultimatum. And it will follow through," Zephyr whispered. "Humans cannot stop it. Our council cannot stop it. Nothing can." Cole stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Commander, you are not going into that thing alone. If it wants to take you." Her fists tightened. "It will have to go through us." Zephyr looked at her, this human who moments ago was an unknown species, and felt something rare for Velnathi. Respect. And fear for her. "Captain," he whispered. "If you stand against it, it will destroy your fleet." Cole stared at the Titan, her voice unshaken. "We've faced extinction before. We survived it. We'll survive this." But before Zephyr could answer, sensors flared back to life. A new distortion appeared behind the Titan. Something else, coming through the breach. Silrex screamed. "Commander, another signature is emerging." And when the shape stepped into view, it wasn't a monster, it was unmistakably Velnathi. The bridge fell into a suffocating silence as the second figure emerged from the breach. Not monstrous, not mechanical. But unmistakably Velnathi. Yet no living Velnathi had ever looked like this. The figure stepped through the shimmering fractures of space with movements that shouldn't have been possible. Flowing, smooth, half-gliding through the air as though gravity was a polite suggestion. Its skin shifted with faint luminescent patterns, ancient symbology that predated even Zethyr's lineage. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural inner light, their depths holding galaxies of memory and madness. Silrex collapsed to the floor, choking on terror. "Commander, that is a prime form. That is pre-unification biology. That strain died out tens of thousands of cycles ago." Zephyr stared, breath freezing in his lungs. "No, not died. They vanished. They were the directive's test subjects." Cole stepped forward slowly, weapons locking on the newcomer. Her voice remained steady. "Commander, is this thing from your past?" Zethyr's mandibles quivered. "It can't be. They were sealed away before spacefaring was even achieved. They never left our homeworld." The Velnathi relic raised its head. And smiled. Not a friendly smile. A knowing one, heavy with recognition. It spoke in the impossibly old Velnathi dialect, the one Zephyr had only ever heard in sacred archives. "My children. At last, you come." Kreno gasped. "Children? Commander, what is it talking about?" Zephyr shook his head violently. "No. That cannot be. That project was abandoned. Terminated." The relic stepped forward again. The Titan pulsed behind it like a heart connected to its body. "Abandoned? No. You left us to the dark. Left us to evolve. To survive." Cole's voice sharpened. "What are you?" The entity turned its luminous eyes toward her. For the first time, its face softened. The soft ones speak. You are not of the design. Cole took a cautious step closer. We're not letting you take the Velnathi. The relic tilted its head. Then, with horrifying serenity, it replied. You have no say, fragment of meat. A pulse of energy flickered across the Titan behind it. Panels along the indomitable horizon sparked. Humans stumbled as gravity lurched sideways. Cole steadied herself. Try that again, Anne. The relic ignored her entirely, turning back to Zephyr. It raised its hand. Something inside the silent veil responded, a distant echo, a call from the core of the Velnathi ships. Silrex screamed, Commander, our vessels are powering up. But we didn't do anything. Zethyr's hearts nearly stopped. No, the Titan is activating our ships remotely. The entity's voice resonated like thunder in a cathedral. Return to US. Or every soft one here will die in your place. A silence filled with doom settled onto the bridge. Cole stood firm. You'll kill no one. The relic finally faced her. Its eyes glowed with something ancient and hungry. Then watch. A beam of dimensional energy charged at the Titan's core, aimed squarely at the human fleet. Silrex screamed, Commander, it's firing. And as the beam released, something impossibly bright erupted between the Titan and the humans, blocking the attack before anyone could understand what they were seeing. The beam screamed across space. A spear of dimensional destruction aimed straight at the heart of the human fleet. Cole braced herself. Her officers closed their eyes. Zephyr felt his world collapsing. And then, something exploded into being between the horizon and the Titan. A flash of radiant brilliance, not mechanical, not physical, not any known weapon. It was light. A concentrated, living column of energy that shimmered like a newborn star. The Titan's beam slammed into it. And shattered. A shockwave rippled outward as the two forces collided. Human ships rocked. Velnathi vessels groaned. The bridge lights flickered violently. Cole shouted over the chaos, what the hell was that? Sensors sputtered back to life just long enough to show a silhouette inside the shining barrier, a humanoid shape, but undefined, fluid, like a figure carved from pure luminescence. Zephyr staggered forward, eyes wide in disbelief. No, no, it can't be. Silrex grabbed the console to keep from falling. Commander, what are you seeing? Zephyr whispered, voice cracking. A light bound. Cole frowned. A what? Zephyr swallowed hard. In our oldest myths, older than the directive, older than Velnathi unity, there were stories of beings born when dimensional rifts converged with raw starlight. Not living creatures, but guardians. Shadows of will. Only legends. Only tales. Cole stepped closer to the viewport, her breath visible in the cold air. That thing just saved us. The light-bound turned its faceless radiance toward the Titan. Where its face should have been, a swirling vortex of gold and white spiraled, pulsing rhythmically, calm yet impossibly ancient. The relic Velnathi prime form hissed in fury. You dare interfere? You were erased. The light-bound answered in a voice that resonated across the bones of reality. Not words. But meaning. We never vanish. We wait. The Titan pulsed violently, panels shifting in agitation. The prime form snarled, raising its hand as dimensional energy coiled around its arm. You are a mistake. A fracture. The light-bound lifted its arm. A single, graceful motion. The dimensional storm around the Titan faltered. The prime form recoiled, genuinely taken aback. Silrex whispered, Commander, what is happening? Why is it reacting like that? Zephyr exhaled shakily. The light-bound were created accidentally during the earliest rift experiments. The first star directive tried to destroy them. Failed. They vanished. Cole narrowed her eyes. So this is another relic of your people's past. Zephyr shook his head slowly. No. This one is unlike the others. Cole stiffened. How do you know? Zethir's hearts pounded. I recognize the energy signature. That pattern, that resonance. He swallowed hard. It belonged to the very first prototype stabilizer core. The one that vanished along with the Titan. Cole's eyes widened. Are you saying this lightbound was part of the Titan? Yes, Zephyr whispered. Before the rift tore them apart. The lightbound stretched its radiant limbs, forming a barrier between the humans and the Titan. The Titan's plates rippled in agitation, its voice rising in fury. Return what is mine. The lightbound's radiance brightened, blinding. Its meaning echoed clearly. They are no longer yours. The Titan roared, its form destabilizing. Then something even more terrifying happened. The Titan began to pull space inward, drawing in human ships and Velnathi vessels alike, its gravitational distortion spiking to catastrophic levels. Cole screamed, "We're being dragged in." And as every ship began sliding toward the Titan's open maw, the lightbound whispered a final message directly into Zethir's mind. Commander, you must choose who survives. Space twisted into a vortex of chaos as every ship, human and Velnathi alike, was dragged toward the Titan's hunger. Gravity warped. Metal screamed. Stars stretched into white lines. Cole clung to the railing as the bridge tilted violently. Engines at full reverse, she shouted. Negative, an officer cried. We're losing traction, nothing can counter this pull. The lightbound stood alone between them and annihilation, its luminous form pressing against the Titan's gravitational storm like a single candle resisting a hurricane. Zephyr felt the universe bending around him. Felt the Titan's will pulling at his bones. Felt the lightbound's whisper echoing inside his skull. Commander, you must choose who survives. His vision blurred with fear. What choice? What are you asking of me? The lightbound responded with a pulse that shook the marrow of his soul. If you return to the Titan, its rage ends. If you stay, with the soft ones, they die. Silrex grabbed his arm, horrified. Commander. You cannot go. It will tear you apart. Cole turned, fury burning in her eyes. Absolutely not. Nobody sacrifices themselves. Not under my command. But the lightbound's next whisper did not speak to Zephyr alone. It echoed across the entire bridge. The Titan wants its origin. Its fragment. Its blood. Zephyr froze. The prime form had called them children. The Titan reacted only to Velnathi signatures. The corridor was shaped specifically for them. Kreno choked out, Commander, your DNA. It matches the ancient genome. It wants you because you carry what it lost. Zephyr staggered backward. No. I am not responsible. I did nothing. The lightbound's radiance dimmed sorrowfully. Yet your lineage is tied to its birth. It feels your presence as a beacon. If you go, the humans are spared. Cole stepped in front of Zephyr, defiant. No. We fight together. Humanity doesn't trade one life for many. The prime form hissed, its voice echoing like a fractured cathedral. Choose, Velnathi. Come to us, or we consume them all. The vortex intensified. Ships spun wildly. Alarms shrieked. Gravity pressed down like a mountain. Cole gritted her teeth. We're losing structural integrity. If this continues, the horizon will implode. Zephyr looked at the faces around him. Humans fighting to keep him alive despite having every reason to abandon him. His own officers trembling, torn between survival and duty. The lightbound radiating desperation. The Titan roaring with ancient fury. He understood then. This wasn't just a battle. This was a reckoning with the sins of his ancestors. Zephyr clenched his hands, mandibles trembling. If I go, he whispered, will the Titan stop? The light-bound pulsed. Yes. Will the humans survive? Yes. Will my people be spared? The light-bound hesitated. Then. I cannot promise that. Silrex sobbed. Cole shook her head fiercely. Zephyr, don't you dare. But Zephyr stepped forward, expression hollow with acceptance. For centuries, the Council hid its crimes. For centuries, we abandoned what we created. Perhaps, this must end with me. He walked toward the airlock. Cole reached out desperately, voice breaking. Zephyr, don't. But the Titan's pull strengthened, its maw widening in anticipation. Zephyr closed his eyes. And jumped. But before his body crossed the threshold, something impossible happened. The light-bound seized him. And whispered. I did not mean you must die. The light-bound's grip halted Zephyr inches before the breach. Holding him in a cocoon of shimmering radiance as the vortex roared behind him like the mouth of a starved god. Zephyr could barely breathe. You said I had to choose who survives. The light-bound's voice poured into him like warm electricity. I said you must choose. Not that you must be the sacrifice. Zephyr's eyes widened. Then who? The answer crashed into his mind like a supernova. The prime form. The ancient, twisted relic of the first star directive. The one that claimed the title of ancestor. The one bound to the Titan's rage. The one carrying the original phase-link core that tied every Velnathi to the Titan's call. The light-bound spoke again, its tone colder now. The Titan does not want you. It wants what it lost, the original anchor. Zephyr's breath trembled. You mean, him. The prime form sensed their realization. It whirled, eyes blazing with dimensional fire. No. I am the first. They belong to me. Cole shouted through the shaking bridge. What's happening? Commander, talk to me. Zephyr turned toward her, voice cracking. It's not me the Titan wants. It's him. He is the seed it was born from. The missing half. The link. Cole's eyes widened. So the Titan won't stop until he's taken. The light-bound pulsed brighter, brighter, blindingly bright. Correct. He is the wound. The origin. The corruption. The prime form screamed, its body fracturing like shattered glass. You cannot take me back. I am beyond your control. The Titan roared. A sound like tearing dimensions. Its corridor widening, gravity multiplying, pulling everything toward the breach. But the light-bound pushed back with pure, focused radiance. I am your other half. The Titan froze. For a heartbeat, silence filled the universe. Awestruck, stunned, ancient recognition. The prime form's face twisted into something monstrous. No, no, you were erased. The light-bound stepped forward, dragging Zephyr safely behind its barrier of light. I was broken. Fragmented. Scattered. Its voice grew stronger, echoing across reality. But the soft ones helped me rebuild. Cole's breath caught. You've been on our side all along. The light-bound flickered, almost like a nod. They nurtured the fragments of me they did not understand. Zephyr had no words. Humanity, accidental saviors of a being born from Velnathi mistakes. The prime form lunged, desperate, shrieking. But the light-bound struck first. A spear of pure radiance pierced through dimensional space, wrapping around the prime form like chains forged from starlight. The Titan howled in rage and grief. Return. 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 The light-bound answered. We return together. And with a final blinding pulse. It dragged the screaming prime form into the breach. Back into the darkness where both halves were born. The Titan convulsed, plates shattering outward in a storm of dimensional shards. The vortex collapsed in a burst of white fire. Then. Silence. The Titan was gone. The void held nothing but stars and drifting fragments of light dissolving peacefully.